Angela, you got me. I never could meditate. I always tried to meditate and could never do it. And I really then, when I was trying as of late, I'm thinking, well, it's just the ADD thing. I just can't shut the noise off. So it's not for me. It's not going to be for me. And you actually got me to meditate for the first time. And that was profound. I wanted to run to my therapist. I was coming home from school like a little kid. I really was, right?
Yeah.
I mean, and this was on Skype, you know, and I'm feeling sound vibrations from what you do, and I'm just like, I kind of felt myself, you know, coming back after being, you know, quieted.
Yeah.
You know, and I couldn't wait to tell my therapist she's gonna flip out. I did it. Like, I'm like, you know, when you were a little kid, Mom, guess what happened today? You're not gonna, you know, and I was that excited. And something else, I got contacted that day by somebody I haven't heard from in like decades. Mm-hmm. And so there was that thing, like something opened, kind of like I was available for that to happen. And I would have never drawn a correlation even. Mm-hmm. So that was another, like all these little things started to happen, little things. And then from there, I never got to therapy that day. And I went down to see my friend who I had up here and who was the first one who ever challenged me on this whole consciousness thing. And I remember even interviewing him and thinking, this is some fucking serious bullshit this guy's into. What happened to him, man? I'm serious. It just sounded way out there. Yeah. And you know what? He's as sincere and heartfelt and motivated and changed. I mean, this is like, and I watch this all the time. It's just, it's phenomenal. And I know there's something going on, and now I've been exposed to more and more and more and more of it. Yeah. And it's you know, it's real. There's so much momentum in this movement right now, right?
Right. It's time. It's time for everybody to wake up. There's just more and more of the young people and the kids are just coming in with this knowledge and this understanding. Mm-hmm. There's somebody that I've met recently, he's in his 20s.
Right.
And I have conversations with him about these things, and he just already knows. He just already knows. And it's completely normal to him to have these conversations.
Is that an exception to the rule? Like, is he a prodigy on some level in this, you know, line of thought, or no?
I don't know. I don't meet a lot of people his age.
Yeah.
But I'm not saying that he's the only one. It's just that I got lucky enough to meet him and connect with him. Mm-hmm. But having a conversation with him was like having a conversation with a being from another planet who already knows all these things. Mm-hmm. Like, I really feel that. I really feel that he came here with this knowledge, but didn't have to lose the knowledge when he came here. He's just kept the knowledge. He's held on to the knowledge. But he's also very good at communicating with anyone. Like, I watched him in the coffee shop communicating with people. He understands how humanity works as well. So really blew my mind, because these are things we had to learn, struggle through, go through the dirt, like nasty underbelly stuff.
Yeah.
He's just kind of like there, you know?
Right. And more of them are like that, you know. And we've met some at some of the festivals and stuff. You could see that they were already, not all of them, but some of them were already, you know, living in that way of consciousness. They're not buying into the system. They refuse to buy in. They're doing what they think is good for the planet, what's good for them, and what's good for everyone. And letting go of the idea that they need to have all kinds of stuff, like, you know, a car and a house and all that. They'll take the junker car and and they're totally happy with it. To be able to move around freely and enjoy their life and be of service to the planet and of service to humanity. So they're coming in with that consciousness, and, you know, we don't realize it, but they're coming in, they're bringing everything in that we want to see change. And they're just not going to take it. They're not going to back down. They're not going to do what we did. You know, we bought into the system. And pretty much, we bought in. As a society, we bought into the system. And we're trying to work through it. We're trying to be part of it until we start to wake up and say, this isn't our truth. It's not our truth.
You see, culturally, I think what's happening now is very similar to like the Summer of Love, like in '67. It's just like, that was more drug.
Yeah.
There were a lot more drugs and stuff. Not more drugs, but they were introduced at that point,
Right.
mind-expanding drugs, right? And then now it's more of a different approach. Although at these festivals, there is a certain subculture within that culture.
Absolutely.
And it's powerful.
Yes,
Yeah, let's not,
exactly.
be naive here. But
That's happening.
look
Yeah.
what just happened with the school shooting thing in Florida, right? When the passion that these kids spoke up with gets everybody, like, I don't... It's real. It's so real and true, and they're so articulate in expressing their pain
That's a perfect
and their
example of
anger,
that.
and
Yes.
really articulately, right? And I think that's what made me think of this, just what you were saying with this kid. It's the youth, man. They gotta do it. Like, we
And they
gotta
are.
let them do it in order to. But that's what happened in '67. It was the kids.
Yeah.
Hippies, man. They were, it was just like, no, I'm not going to fucking Vietnam. Fuck you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, they're stepping up.
when your kid goes, I'll go. And that changed things. It stirred something. It spurred something, I should say.
Right.
And I maybe I'm drawing the same thing, but protesting and musically too. I mean, people are talking about this stuff now. That's why the festivals are what they are, because it's about stuff that's really going on.
Right.
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 What are you guys into musically, anyway? By the way.
Kirtan mostly, kirtan type music, and
That's the.
I like new agey type stuff. Sometimes just instrumental and anything that resonates with the higher vibration. It's hard to explain. Anything that's dissonant, I don't like to listen to anymore. Like rock and roll. And
Really.
some of it I like. Some of it's good, but I just
I
don't
would
listen.
say I'm coming more from a place of just, if someone's putting something out there consciously, I'll resonate with it. It doesn't matter what kind of music it is.
That's true.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There are some kirtan artists that I really don't like to listen to.
That's true too.
Yeah. Right.
So I can resonate with just,
Yeah.
if it's dance music, but it's conscious dance music, cool, because I get to dance to it, you know?
Yeah.
So if the intention is there to raise the vibration, pretty much that's my thing with music.
Yeah, that's a good way to explain it. I just don't listen to a lot of new stuff. I've been listening to the same old thing over and over, basically.
Right.
So yeah, but anything that's conscious is.
I got introduced to a lot of new music at the Joe Dispenza retreats because they do a lot of dancing.
Oh, that's nice.
Is that what they call the static dance?
No, they just like, because he does retreats at like hotels or whatever. And
Right.
so you take breaks, and then pretty much before every break, there's a dance party.
Really?
Yeah, it's great. It's fun. but they play all kinds of music,
Yeah.
but it's always like high vibe music, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. See, some of it, like David's invited me to a couple of these, David Block we talked about, right? He does these ecstatic dance.
I love those too, yeah.
Like, I think he does like a monthly thing here in the city somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, yeah, I don't know. I don't feel, like I'm out of place. I'm not, if I was stoned, I'd be, maybe more, you know what I mean? But I'm not. But I'm just feeling like, okay, how do you just, you do self-conscious, whatever, right? But, I need to do this. And I'm in.
Did
And
you
then
go?
No.
Oh.
No.
Well, it's and that's one of the things we're going to
Yeah.
present at our retreat.
Absolutely.
Is conscious movement.
Yeah.
And there's a few things you can do. One is close your eyes.
Well, yeah, they give you whole
Yeah.
instructions.
Yeah.
Just don't judge anybody. If you tap somebody and they say no, go away. Whatever, just respect people and just but let go.
But it's about getting out of your head and trusting how you feel
Yeah.
from your heart space. So then you let that come out and you move in that way.
Right.
Close your eyes
If
and
you
go in
close your
heart.
eyes,
Yeah.
then you can be in your heart. But if you're looking at everybody else, you're thinking, what are they doing? Are they looking at me?
Well,
Just close
that's-
your eyes. And do
Right.
it.
I get. Listen, I see the advantages of doing it. I totally get it. But getting out of yourself and self-consciousness too. I think that's what
Yeah.
it is. Being conditioned.
Right, exactly.
That's what it is, and it just is what it is. But I definitely think it's a great thing to do, and these kids loving it, man.
Yeah.
It's
yeah,
wild.
yeah.
It's a
Well,
great
it's
movement.
amazing. It's an amazing way to express your heart energy.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So coming from a Deadhead to Guns N' Roses to now I just listen to kirtan music. That's a jump.
I don't just listen to kirtan.
Oh.
I listen to anything that's consciously driven. It can be
Well, that's
reggae.
so-
It can be dance music.
Yeah.
When's the last time you heard a song?
I honestly don't listen to a lot of kirtan, to be honest.
Okay.
I play kirtan. I don't listen to a lot of kirtan.
Okay. When's the last time you heard a song that grabbed you? You went like, wow. I remember What a Wonderful World, the Louis Armstrong by Joey Ramone.
Yeah.
It was just like, what, I'm just like, what a wonderful, what is that? Wow.
Yeah. I've had those moments.
Yeah.
But
it
none of
doesn't
it
even have to be great. It just grabs you at the moment.
In the moment.
Yeah.
And that's what's so beautiful about music, because it touches you on so many levels.
Yeah.
That if something can touch you that deeply to just bring you into a moment like that, that's amazing.
That's the beauty of music too. It's so transcending. It all the shit that's going on. It doesn't matter what color you are, what your beliefs are. Good. It's
Everybody
from the soul.
comes together in music.
Yeah, I agree so much. Yeah. Where you guys are at with this now, and what's going on culturally, right? How does this become more important than what's going on around us?
To stay in your conscious self and not to get involved in the craziness around you? Is that what you mean?
Yeah. I mean, because then you're letting other people dictate what the result is going to be without a participation. It's like not voting.
Well, I'll give an example, and I mean, I can give my own thing, but Abraham Hicks, who I appreciate a lot, so she also does a thing where she channels or allows God consciousness to come through and she speaks. And what they say is that one person who's in their source energy or in that space, or she calls it in the vortex, is more powerful than 1 million people who are not. So if we're sitting here and we're completely going into consciousness and we're completely connecting with that space in our heart and we're radiating, let's do it, right? So let's radiate that energy out, and we just imagine that energy touching everyone and everything that exists on the earth plane, right? And we're just radiating it, we're radiating it, we're radiating it, we're radiating it. We are that, and we're creating our reality, right? What can touch that? Nothing can touch that. You know that love is more powerful than anything. Why do you think movies are so successful? Because love always wins in the end. It always wins. They don't let the evil guy win in a movie. Nobody would watch the movie. Love always wins. It always, always, always wins. So if you're living in that space and you're creating your reality from that space, because everything's created from your inner space of divine peace. Whether you know it or not, your entire reality, your entire world is created from your own inner space. So what are you creating? Are you creating a world where you're conscious of all the ugliness and desperation around you? Are you creating a world that's beautiful and divine and blissful and peaceful and loving and pure? Because the more of us that are radiating that energy from within our being, and the more of us that are creating that space, and the more of us that are energetically engineering that world, well, then we're going to live in that world, and we're consciously going to be aware of that world.
So it's as simple as perspective?
It's as simple as...
You choose the perspective you're going to invest in.
Absolutely.
It's that simple.
Absolutely. That's powerful knowledge.
And I was going to start, the first thing that came to mind for me was creation. You're creating what you want to see in the world. Everything that manifests here in this world has to start with a thought of a creation. Any building you see out here in the city started with someone's thought and someone's mind to create that building. So it's the same thing for us. We're creating this world of love and light, and we're choosing it, and you have to claim it and choose it for yourself first. I'm choosing that I want to see a world where everyone lives harmoniously. There's no borders. There's no separation. We interact and we mingle and we weave the tapestry of life together. We do things. We all do things we love. There's abundance of everything, and I believe it can really happen. I know I'm in it. I believe it. It's not something that's out there. It's something I'm creating, and if I'm creating it as that one soul who's in alignment with her heart and her soul and affecting the world of consciousness, like Abraham Hicks said, over the million, eventually the collective will awaken to that and we'll all be living in that world.
But to get that mainstream to people that don't get where you're coming from, because you understand a lot of people are just not that open, right? They're just not like that. You have to be open to this stuff. Like you guys went through your experiences to avail yourself to it, right? not everybody like either accepts that kind of turn, like, okay, this is the direction I'm going to take. Some people, the conditioning just becomes where you have no self-esteem, so you're not even going to be looking for something positive.
But
you don't know how to.
You are. If you have no self-esteem, if you're hitting that place, that's where I went. If you're hitting that place, you want more.
Yeah,
You're
but
like,
in the
how?
midst, but all the time it took for you to actually get there while you're in that journey.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, there's a lot of people in that journey right now.
The other thing that's happening right now is that it's everything's speeding up. The vibration's raising higher. Everything's vibrating faster. Everything's about vibration. So people who
Right.
are in this place of deep darkness can shift on a dime. Some people it might take a year. Some people it might take 2 weeks. Some people it might take 5 years. But they're not going to have to go through a lifetime of work. Not necessarily. You know, some people might. It depends on how easily you're willing to surrender to the process and accept the love within your own heart. It can happen like that.
The other thing is allowing people to be where they are. You just have to accept that people are where they are, and we don't know why they are where they are.
Yeah.
We don't know what their journey is. We don't know what their path is. We don't know what their mission here is. We don't know why they came here. So is it really our concern to decipher their path for them? Unless they come and ask for help,
Yeah.
you know, or is it our mission to just do what we can and be who we can be and decipher our own paths and access ourselves for the people who are consciously aware and who do want to access that energy within themselves. I mean, that's my work. You know, I don't try to access people that aren't interested
No.
or who
nor
just,
do I.
it's not their path, but I'm definitely open and available for anyone who is interested and who wants that and who wants to come to me for knowledge.
How important is just being of service?
That's everything.
Yeah.
That's my life's dedicated to being of service to humanity, to raise their vibration into love, into the love consciousness. That's all I'm here for.
You know, Angela, why don't you talk about this journey you just took? Because that was a fascinating time you just had recently, right? When you went
Yeah.
over to Europe.
Yeah.
What brought that about?
Well,
and
that's
everything?
about the creating the world you want as well. You know, I view my vision of our world is to see us living harmoniously together and everything being abundant and all those things. Everyone's into their creativity. So if I believe that, then I needed to live that, start living all of that way. And I found that I was expecting things to come to me in a traditional way, and I needed to let that go. So I said, I expect the world to be magical, so I need to expect magic to show up in my life. And as soon as I integrated that into myself, I realized that I was getting an itch to go to Ireland. You know, I was getting
Yeah, where did that come from?
just from meditation, just a feeling. That's how I get a feeling, and I kind of get a knowing and a thought. And at first I thought it was because my friend was going to Ireland, but then it really didn't have anything to do with that. So I just trusted the feeling, and it kept showing up. And I would ask, and I know how to ask my soul questions and get a yes answer, and you know, and get the information. So, yes, you're going to Ireland. So I just started telling people I was going to Ireland, but I had no finances to go to Ireland. I had just enough finances to put gas in my car and food on my table, and that was it. So I had no idea, but I just told people I was going to Ireland. So my girlfriend Colette is from Ireland, and she goes, you can stay at my mom's house. They would be glad to have you there. So I had that lined up. And then I was having lunch with someone, and they asked me what I wanted to do. And I says, well, I'm going to Ireland. And he said, what's keeping you from going? And I said, well, I need a plane ticket. He offered me the plane ticket. So out of complete blue, I get a plane ticket from a source I never expected. And that just was right there. That nailed it for me. I said, that's the magic, and I believe in magic, and I know everything can be magical.
Yeah, and just when I'm not doing that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, who would? My reaction, who fucking does that?
I do.
Well, that was my very reaction to you, right?
Yeah.
But I watched you do it. See, this is the
Yeah.
difference. I had the same thing with Maya. I parallel you two very often, right?
Yeah.
What courage. And I like to think, like, you know, the masculine thinks, you know, I know what, I got this, you know.
Yeah.
Got what? How's that working out?
Yeah, it's
Right?
surrender.
And I watch you women do this and do things in real challenge and real courage, and it's legit. I mean,
Yeah.
totally, it's wild to watch,
Yeah.
wild to witness. So go on, because it didn't end in Ireland.
No, but it's about surrendering to that process and knowing that, for me, I know that source, my higher self, I planned my life ahead of time. I planned my journey. So I just asked to always be in alignment with that plan, because I know I'm here to be of service. So I asked to be in alignment with that plan. So I know that I'll get what I need as I need it. Mm-hmm. So I just trusted the magic, and I went, and I had, just enough funds and places to stay. And then I went to France, and I trusted my guidance to guide me to look for a house sit. And I got a 30-day house sit in the middle of France. Then from there, once I got to the house sit, I always say, I call it a hit. I got the hit to plan my trip to go to La Baume, St. Baume and St. Maxim, where the Mary Magdalene Basilica is.
Right.
And so I went there for a week, and my plan was to go to the cave, which I didn't realize was so far away from St. Maxim. And by then my funds were starting to run low, so I knew I couldn't go to the cave every day. I could only go one day. But I went to the Basilica every day. And I just meditated, I walked around, and I did some voice toning while I walked around there, and just kind of communicated a little bit with Jesus and Mary Magdalene and all the different statues. I would take that opportunity to just kind of communicate with each one and take in the energy of the place, and went to the cave. And when I came back from the cave, I had 2 days or 3 days left that I had scheduled, and I had very little money left, maybe $150, and I still didn't know where I was going next. All this time I thought I was staying in France longer, so I really didn't know where I was going next, and a little bit of fear was creeping in, because I'm not getting any information about what's coming up next, and I'm trusting the magic, and I'm giving myself up to the mystery, and this is the mystery, is not knowing. So I surrendered to the mystery, and when I came back from the cave, I started getting weird feelings about, just feeling just out of sorts. And then I was checking in, and I was like, okay, I'm done. I'm done here. This was it. I just needed to go to the cave. It's over. I'm done. I have 2 more nights, and I took a bus down to get my plane, and I set up my plane ticket and flew back home. So I was just trusting all the while, even though I thought I was staying in France longer, but I had no funds left.
Right. So what's the ultimate takeaway from that?
Just to surrender, to totally surrender to your higher self and let the guidance come within you. I was totally fine. I did run out of money. I had the plane ticket home. I had enough money the whole time I was there. So then on the way back, I'm thinking more about what am I going to do when I get back, right? I'm in Santa Fe. My roommate had downsized, so I wasn't staying with her anymore. My stuff was in storage. What's up next for me now that I'm going back? And I didn't know I was coming back. But I knew I wasn't going to stay in Santa Fe. I knew Santa Fe was over for me. So I went to Santa Fe. My girlfriend then in Phoenix needed help, so I went there for 2 weeks. And then I came back to Santa Fe, and I spent enough time there to gather my things. And then I was just trusting, okay, what am I feeling? And I just kept feeling the pull to come back east and to be with my family for a while, and to start working back here. And then that's when Kai and I connected again, and now we're collaborating. So it's just been a wonderful journey. It's just trusting what the feeling is within my heart, where to go next.
Yeah, it's a big deal. Have you had a similar experience or not?
With which?
Trusting, like just trusting the path you're on, and like having to be that vulnerable to it.
I'm actually in the middle of that experience right now, because my husband and I are divorced, but I'm still living with him. And we have 2 kids, a 5-year-old and a 10-year-old, but we've continued to cohabitate, but it's very apparently time for us to separate. And I don't have a physical form of income at the moment, except for, donations I get for my work. So but it's time for me to make the move. So I'm going into full trust mode. So in a couple of weeks, we have our retreat in Nag's Head on April 11th, but we're just going to start traveling and offering our work, and that's it. So yeah, I'm right now in the middle of that, going into full trust mode. You know, I went to India a couple of weeks ago, and that just opened up really easily and effortless for me. A friend of mine bought me a ticket, and I met a wonderful teacher there. But I needed a lot of other money to get things I needed and for other travel expenses. And it was amazing. The week before I left, I was getting donations out of nowhere. People I didn't even know were watching my YouTube channel would send me a note and a donation saying, "Thank you so much. Your videos are helping me so much. Here's $150." Like, oh, okay. You know, that happened 3 or 4 times in 1 week. Like, just out of the blue.
Yeah, but
the week before I left for India. And I got all the money I needed to go to India.
So it's almost the same story.
Yeah.
Different details to the same story.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And so I'm completely trusting at this point that is what is happening as we take this journey. And I'm doing it. It's interesting because I'm doing it with 2 children. So in the past I was crazy and I would just get in a car and travel across country and not know where I was going or where I was staying. But now I have 2 children. So it's a bigger leap of faith, but not really. Because once you just put your trust in the energy, then you just put your trust in the energy and you know you're being taken care of.
Is there a conflict though? I mean, when society dictates the play one way, and you're almost like swimming against stream, right?
Society's swimming against stream because society sets you up in a certain way, right? Society wants you to live in debt. Society wants you to live in fear, right?
Yeah.
So they're swimming against stream.
Right.
So if you're trying to do that, does that ever feel natural? Never. If you're living in a world of debt,
It might if you don't know anything else.
Struggle.
And most people don't. If you're not spiritually woke and you don't know anything else, that's what it is. And you don't know anything else.
What it
That's,
is, but it doesn't feel good.
Never
It doesn't
feels
feel-
good.
you can live your life ignorantly. It's easy.
It's like the Matrix.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
it just is. And then there's a whole different level of responsibility and accountability to live the way you're living. Nothing?
Well,
I thought that was rather profound. Fuck!
I don't even call it accountability. I just call it a natural way of being. Once you fall into that space within your heart, it's just a natural way of being. And then you see so clearly how society is set up. It's hard to communicate that
That was a good explanation.
from a level of understanding when you're living in the society. But I see very clearly how people are living. People are living in anxiety. People are living in stress. People are not happy in the world. They pretend that they're happy. They put on a happy face. They buy their coffee and they go to work every day. But if you get into those people's heads, if you go to bed with those people at night, you are going to realize half of them can't sleep. They're taking sleeping pills. They're drinking coffee to get themselves going in the morning. They're struggling to the next Friday so that they can just have 2 days off. You know what I mean? Who's happy with that life? Truly.
But how many people, that's just what you know. That's all you know. So
Right.
you're happy or not, deal with it.
But it's not happy is what I'm saying. It's
Right.
not going downstream.
It's swimming upstream.
It's constantly struggling.
Yeah, okay.
It's a constant struggle. But nobody accepts that there is a different way because it's been so ingrained into us that that's the only way. And I lived like that for years and years and years. I think I'm just coming into the understanding that we don't have to live that way.
How empowering is that?
Extremely empowering. Extremely. Because
It is.
you're free.
It's
All of a
so
sudden you're free.
You're free. That was like one of my biggest things. I remember saying to someone who was helping me with some of the awakening work, and I just kept saying, I just want to be free. I just want to be free. And I didn't even know really how deep that was, but it's really deep. I just wanted to be released from all of this pressure we think we have, because you believe that you have it. You believe you have to do all this. You believe you have to live like that, and you really don't. you can let it go. You can look at life in a different way. You don't have to have a house. You don't have to buy fancy clothes and fancy car.
But you can have all that too. That's
but you can have, yeah,
like,
you
allow
can have it.
Why not have
it's
it?
It's true.
You know?
Yeah, you allow, but it's the idea that you have to work a job to have all that.